Rick, are you okay? Rick, are you okay? You okay? You good? You good, boo?
You tie? Did you wake up from a nap? No, you're just tired.
Do you need a nap? Yeah.
I took a nap today. It was great.
Is guacamole a fruit salad?
What is the best milkshake for bringing boys to the yard?
Ostriches are dinosaurs.
Don't piss off old people. New game,
What do you mean it gives you Arby's mouth?
artisanal muck duck balls.
I think they call that autofellatio.
I want to high five a shark.
Welcome to Bar Banter. Relax, have a drink with us as we debate the most controversial topics in the world today.
On today's podcast, what's the best date format? What's the best sauce, delivery, food? And lastly, how often should you organize the apps on your phone? But first, Andrew Mullis, what are you drinking?
I had zero creativity today, so I'm drinking tequila, ginger beer, slice of lime in it.
Easy peasy.
It's all tequila. Rick, what are you drinking?
I'm right there with you in my wheelhouse. I'm rocking the Blue Moon this evening because creativity is overrated at sometimes. Travis, with the Yeti mug, what are you drinking over there?
Well, I need a little pick me up, and I was all out of soda or Monster or anything, but I had some cold brew. So I put some cold brew in this giant Yeti mug, put some Bailey's in there, and also put a shot of bourbon. And
I feel like we wasted a good segue moment. I just feel like you could have been like, I needed to pick me up for a date. I don't know.
you expect me to have good segues?
No, that's not what I said.
Oh god, I feel like he's got a. Oh, I thought he was gonna have a
Yeah, I thought he was about to.
prop or something.
Yes, or prop something up.
No, I liked the noise. I like the slurping noise. I am going to switch over now to my
Oh, we didn't hear that.
Tomatin Highland single malt scotch.
Ooh,
I've had on the show a couple times. Let me see if I can get the pop.
did you get it?
Nice.
Because we didn't hear it.
I didn't hear it.
I heard it, and that's all. That
Okay, good,
matters.
good. That's what it is. It is all that matters. I'm happy that you heard it.
Do you guys know what date format they use in Scotland?
Ooh.
Day, month, year.
Mm.
That's what I'm going to say.
Day, month, year. You would be correct.
It would be.
I have thoughts on this one.
Can
get
I
out there real
introduce the
quick.
topic first?
Absolutely.
You
not.
already-
No.
you
Well,
already
just-
did.
You already did it.
No.
You did it at the top.
No.
I want to go.
Guys, what's the best date format? Go.
Okay. I think
Take that, Drew.
there's a couple different ways you could format it to where it's interchangeable, and I think it'll depend on the situation. But in general, I think dinner, activity, and then like after dinner drinks
Yeah,
or something like that.
that's a good one.
And like depending on the activity, you could combine the first two or like switch those two around. Like if we're going to a Braves game, we're probably going to eat at the stadium, so that's kind of an all-in-one, and then you go out afterwards, that kind of thing. And in all seriousness, for the first 15 minutes that I researched this, I absolutely thought that was the prompt, and then I realized we were talking about date format as in calendar.
Yes.
Well,
Date
actually,
format.
because I think the best date
So I
format
did
is
both.
April 25th because all you need is a light jacket. So I'm right there with you, Drew.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
say that this year it's not the case. That would have been true maybe like a month ago, but
We haven't made it to April 25th, sir.
it's gonna
You
be
don't-
hot.
You
It's
don't know.
going to be hot.
What if
You
it's a
s-
night
oh,
date?
you say that now.
I do. I won't be here for April 25th.
Wait,
where I
but
will be.
Are you dying?
Yes. No, I'll be in the Caribbean where I won't need a light jacket.
Ooh,
It'll be the rescheduled end of the world, Rick.
I feel like I missed out on so much. I didn't know all of those things were going on.
Well, what's your well, on the topic of dates, what's your favorite date? Is it like the fruit kind or is it like Is it a specific date on the calendar, or is it a specific activity? Because the best date, let's be real, is putt putt. That's if you can take a girl to putt putt.
Always.
Yeah.
Okay.
Putt-putt's-
Why is that the
I can
best
tell
date,
you
Travis?
because movies, you don't really get a chance
Sure,
to
yeah.
actually talk.
Movies not- yeah.
Movies are out.
Is really just the worst.
Dinner,
Movies are a good second, third date.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, and there happens to be a good movie out.
Right.
Dinner usually is some sort of included, but if you only do dinner, you risk like their taste in something is not
Sure.
good
Sure.
and you have a bad experience. Putt allows you to talk, get to know someone, and be a little competitive, which allows for that kind of like bonding moment. And if your person that you're taking out doesn't like putt and doesn't want to be competitive, I understand that.
You
Not
shouldn't be
everyone
dating them.
is, but you probably shouldn't be dating them. Exactly.
Yeah, also
And
fair.
you can flirt a little bit, right? You can do the little pretend cheats and you can like try to scare them a little bit. There's just so many different things you can do because it's simple. Like you're not going to get sweaty. You can dress up maybe a little bit, but you're not going to get too fancy. You're not going to get too schlubby if you don't want to. So anyway, date formats. We're talking how do you list the calendar time? Obviously in the US, since about the 1980s, it's been month, day, year. But I want to know what your guys' thoughts are on date formats.
I really like the Mayan calendar system.
Yes.
Uh,
Next rabbit hole. Let's go.
I think if we're going in actuality on this, I know we grew up with it. I know it's just kind of how we've always done it, but in general, and if we wanted to just stay even across the board, which I'm always in favor of doing, I think day, month, year makes more sense.
Yes.
To me.
Yes.
Just because it's the order of operations of things. It's the 12th day of the 4th month of the X year that we're in. So it makes more sense to me going from smallest unit of measurement to largest unit of measurement in the system. And I understand it. I agree with what you're saying that if we're speaking it out loud, it makes a little more sense to me. But it is where we grew up. If you go anywhere where they have day, month, year, they say 15 February 2024, whatever.
I haven't been enough places and had this conversation with enough people that aren't American. I wish Jeff was here to actually hear them say it, because I would assume they say, oh, it's the 1st of June. It's the 1st of, so that's an extra 3 words, right? To say, they don't just say 1st June. I don't think, I assume they don't. I haven't heard it, but I don't know any better. But it's for some reason, it's a little weird to me to have the smallest unit on the left. Whereas,
so you would rather be year, month, date?
I don't love that either. I'm not saying I'm kind of mixed here, but like if we're talking about time, it goes the larger unit, smaller unit. It goes hours, minutes. And so why would we go, if we're taking any date format or any kind of time format into consideration, why is one of them large, small, and then the other is small, large? Like that, to me, like if we really want to be consistent, we got to do them the same way. And I think saying it is, at the time of this recording, 3/9, that doesn't make any sense, right? 9/03. If you say 039, that doesn't make sense. But 9/03,
we're not talking about time though.
No, but I'm
you can't make that leap. No,
sure I can.
No, you can't.
Sure I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, it's a measurement of time. They're both measurements of time. That is totally leapable. I'm not saying they're exactly the same, but like one is measuring.
That's the dumbest argument I've ever heard, because you're never going to tell me that you're 3 days, 84, 12 months, 36 years old. So
That's
stop
well,
it.
so
Stop it with your dumb time analogy.
No. According to Rick, you're going to be my expert here, because I don't know any better about this either. In my 5 minutes of research, so it's got to be true.
You convinced me.
The U.S. military uses a very specific format for date time group format, which is day, hour, month, time zone. No, I'm sorry. Day, hour, minute, time zone, month, year.
No.
You've never seen that before.
No.
Okay, because it says uses 4 formats for standard military correspondence abbreviated format: 1 or 2-digit delay, 3 letter abbreviation for the month, and 2-digit abbreviation for the year. So example would be 4 February 23, which would be day, month, year.
I mean, there's parts of that are true, but you don't.
It says
read it again.
It says the final format is used most often in operation orders. So maybe some sort of formal document. Uses the format of day, hour, minute, time zone, month, year. So it would be
okay. I would disagree with day time, but yes, there is some truth to that. It's more time day. Is what I have seen.
And that makes sense to me, going like minute, like if we were to put it all together, it would be like minute, hour, day, month, year, like going smallest to largest from down to the minute. And so that's where.
But yes, overall, yes, all of those are included in an operations order.
To circle back, that's why I don't think it's a leap to include, or at least talk about and discuss, the actual minute and hour, because they are measurements of time.
Yeah, but it's dumb to say you're going to say minutes, hour. That is what I draw the line with.
I agree with that. I don't want to say minute, hour. That's stupid. But if we're saying time is largest, smallest, right? Hour, minute, which is the way you're supposed to do it, then why don't we do that for dates as well, which would be year, month, day? Like, let's keep it consistent across all of them. Like, why is it for time we're doing largest, smallest, but for the individual date on the calendar, we're going smallest to largest? I'm not saying this is the right way to do it either. Drew had brought up the argument of, and I think you said the same thing, of why don't it should be day, month, year, which is smallest to largest. But if we take another unit measurement of time, it goes largest to smallest. So why are they backwards? Why are they opposites?
Let me work through this. I understand what you're saying, but I'm going to argue they're not opposites. Just give me a minute to formulate it. To me, I think the largest to smallest is the wrong focus. I understand what you're saying, but I think the difference is it's what you're counting to. It's not necessarily the largest. I think what I'm trying to say is the most important factor is first, and then the secondary of it. So like, to me, like, I don't necessarily need to, because, and I guess what I mean is, like, normally you schedule meetings or appointments on the hour. Now that's not always true. I get it. Like, sometimes it's 9:15, but overall we live our lives during the day, hour to hour. And so it is the most important thing first. And then whereas within a month, or just basically day to day, like, the day is the important thing, because typically it's like, what are you doing Monday? What are you doing Tuesday? What are you doing Wednesday?
Okay.
And so that is the weird route that I look at it as. It is what are you most concerned about first? And then you're followed up with the secondary, like, okay, now that I'm grouped in let's get more specific.
Mhm.
Is
So
the
so
route.
you're more, I'm going to call it priority order.
Sure.
And it just
that
so
works.
happens that one is small to large, one's large to small.
Yeah, like
that's
that
a
part.
coincidence.
Yeah, that
Okay.
part I never have thought of, but I'll buy it for $1. But yes, it's more coincidence
Okay.
to me that it just so happens to work that way.
Okay,
I'll
so
back Rick on that.
I like that notion, right? That makes sense for a average person, day to day. What are you doing on Tuesday at 3:00? Makes sense. Okay, so real quick, I want to call out this. According to Wikipedia's list of date formats by country, most of the world uses day, month, year. The US is the only one that really uses month, day, year. So
Yeah, 'cause we're dumb.
However,
we've also been in the moon,
we have the following countries do year, month, day. They do it backwards.
Ooh.
China, Japan, South Korea, North Korea, Taiwan, Hungary, Mongolia, Lithuania, Bhutan, and Sweden. Why
Now, is
Sweden?
that because some of those countries are reading from right to left?
Right. And so if
So
you
it's still the
are
same.
listening, if you're listening to this podcast and you're in one of those countries that do year, month, day, but you're probably going right to left or up to down, you're fine. But for the we'll call it Germanic and Romance languages that read left to right, it is now day, month, year. And then also, I'm going to specifically call out South Africa, Kenya, Canada, and Ghana. Canada is the big one on here. They have listed all three date formats that they use interchangeably. So month, day, month, year, and year, month, day.
Interchangeably?
It says order styles. There's a whole slew of ones that use day, month, year, and that's the only thing they use. For the United States, it's month, day, year, and occasionally we use year, month, day. I don't know when we do that. But specifically South Africa, Kenya, Canada, and Ghana use three different variations of dates. And I don't like that.
That's chaos.
Yeah, no.
Usually I like chaos, but
I don't like that.
not like
I like to like just dip into chaos. I don't like to like fully go into
No.
No. You don't like to dipping sauce?
Don't.
Hey, real quick. You listening? Cool. Do me a favor. On your app, wherever you're listening to this podcast, there's a button to follow or subscribe or some sort of a notification type bell. Whatever you do, don't click them. Don't click those buttons. Don't do it. Or click it. Whatever it doesn't matter. Just fine. It's fine. Just click it. It's cool. Just do whatever you want. Preach.
I'm feeling saucy.
You're always feeling saucy.
And I want to know, what is the best sauce delivery food? And basically what I mean is what food is the best at getting the sauce from the container to your mouth hole? Who has thoughts?
I have a controversial opinion, and
okay,
I guess I'm going to hop out there and potentially try and derail this.
Drink the sauce out of the container. No food delivery necessary.
Whatever bowl the sauce comes in,
or just squeeze directly in mouth,
depending on the sauce.
You're right.
But no, because when you say best, like there's a lot of things that we go to, right? Like we think chips, maybe off the jump. Sure. We think maybe like something that you douse an item in with sauce. So like you think wings maybe, but no, like, because you need to, if we're talking the best, I take that as completion, if you will. Maybe not, maybe completion is the wrong way to phrase it, but to make sure there's no residual leftover sauce. Like I want to get all of the sauce. And so because of that, I think there's a very simple answer that we're going to overlook, and bread. Bread is the best delivery of sauces, because I don't know anybody who doesn't take bread and get the bottom of the soup bowl or really any bowl and just get it out of there. So
Bread was not going to be overlooked. I just want you to know that.
give me bread. Well, find something that's better than bread that soaks up sauce.
I agree with Rick. I have a bunch of backups and we can talk through all of them, but I do think you have to include bread in many different formats, like everything from a tortilla to
Sure.
like the
Well-
roti we had the other day, non-bread, any sort of malleable thing that is considered bread in any type of culture. I'm putting it in that category as best. What would be an example that you guys are about?
I guess I have a question. Like,
Yeah.
do we?
I'm not including tortilla chips.
No, but are we really saying tortillas are bread?
They are a type
They are-
of bread. They are.
No,
a
but
type
no,
of
no,
bread.
not a no,
Right,
not like a.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm pointing this way. This way. I'm
Yeah,
with you.
like, are we really like if you're saying they're flour, you know, same side of the like, are we really saying a tortilla is bread like that? I just
Yeah.
need that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then
It's a type of flatbread.
Then our noodles bread.
Okay. Well, then I am going to.
Noodles are boiled usually.
I'm going
Almost
to.
always.
I'm going to
But
specify.
bread is cooked. But I'm just saying it's
It's
bread.
baked.
How you cook it doesn't matter. It's still flour and water and or egg.
Then you could call bread noodles. We can get into this if you
That's
really
what.
want
That's
to.
what. That's my argument. I don't think
No, I do not.
the answer bread is as broad as tortillas and other things, because I would have accepted bread as in like
Well, so
risen bread is probably a better way to put it.
I'm going to throw just this out here, and y'all
Yeah.
can go and argue at it. When I say bread, I am talking fluffy.
Yes,
Fluffiness.
risen
You're
bread.
talking
I am talking
bread
like,
that has used yeast to
yes,
puff up
to-
and proof itself. I
that, and I am making that
disagree. I
deciding
think
factor.
flatbreads are included in that because that includes a lot of different types of fry bread, and
Sure,
it's all
I'm
the
not
same
saying-
ingredients except for the yeast and the proofing.
Well, then why not
Sure.
boiled bread?
I'm not saying that they're not good,
That would be
Drew,
gross.
but to me,
Pasta.
there's an absorbent factor that I think
Yes.
is the differential is the difference, and that is why
I think it depends.
No, I agree it does, but as a whole, like I'm talking generalities here. As a whole, leaven bread, yeast bread, whatever we want to call it, breadsticks, slices of bread, like that. There's a absorbent factor.
It's a sponge.
Yes, there's sponginess, that flatbread and
Tortillas
so,
and
no, yeah, but there's a specific.
non.
I don't know which bread I'm
Pita-
trying to talk
pita
about.
bread.
Yes, pita. Thank you. To me, when I submit bread, is the difference
Mhm.
for my specific submission.
Feel
But I
like
do-
they can all be under the same category still,
Mhm.
because
Nope.
tortillas can be a vessel for many things if you just
Sure.
shape them a little different.
No, they
They don't-
can, but
But some breads are better than others.
And I think some flatbreads are better than some flaky puff up breads.
At
well,
some
but
breads
do you
are
mean
better
like
at sauce.
delicious, or do you mean specifically for absorbing and controlling?
It's not necessarily about
because that's what I'm saying.
absorbing necessarily to me. It's about manipulating, and I think you can get the same amount of manipulation out of both types if you are trying hard enough.
To be fair, pivot a little bit to Drew's side. A tortilla, while does not have the absorbent capabilities of, say, just a piece of white bread, it can be molded to support
Sure, it can.
greater volume of sauce. It's not getting absorbed, but you just have a pool of sauce in the tortilla, so you can make it malleable enough to
It becomes a spoon.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. And that's, to me, that is, I guess that's what, and then that takes us into what is considered the best delivery. Like at that point, to me, there has to be some sort of, I'm going to say balance. I don't know a better way to describe it right now, but like, I want the ratio of bread or source to sauce to kind of be there. And so if I'm just taking a spoon that is a chip, flatbread, insert whatever tortilla you're saying here, like it becomes less about the vessel and more about like it becomes a soup. And I'm not trying to like take us down that road, but but to me, like I guess that is where I am trying to pitch my vote. It to me, best is not the most of sauce that I can gather in a dip or a trip, whatever you want to call it. It's about the ratio quality for me.
I think so. Here's my spectrum is on the very flattest side of the flatbread, say the unleavened breads, is tortilla, which is no absorbency, slick as fuck.
Sure.
And then you have like sourdough bread on the other. Let's just say like Italian loaf, whatever.
No, yeah,
the big white breads. There's a middle ground between those where nice. Like there's some flatbreads that are better at absorbency, like a naan bread, or I think pita actually does have yeast in it. I'm not 100% sure. But there is a middle ground where those two semi overlap.
Sure.
And you can get absorbency and texture and taste out of a flatter type of bread, the same as you could get with a white, flaky, crusty roll or bread or something like that. So I just don't think it's fair to not include the flatbreads.
Okay. That's fair.
I think it can all live together in one.
Okay.
And we can, get the fuck out of here, tortilla chips. Like, what are you doing with your life?
First of all, I love
they're on my list. Trust me. I love me the tortilla chip. Give me some fucking Dorito scoops any day.
So I want to make this a little bit more challenging, I guess. When we did the Mount Rushmore of foods, we said very general things like rice. We almost said potatoes, but we said French fries. We said mac and cheese instead of just pasta. We said rice, and I forget exactly what the other one was, but it was some sort of kind of generic. Corn? It wasn't corn. That was like 5, but it was some other. Bacon. That was it. But rice to me was that kind of generic ingredient that we didn't kind of narrow down. So if you're both quote saying bread, I want to challenge you guys to say, what's the best bread that is a sauce delivery food? Like Rick has kind of said a spongier classic sandwich style bread in that realm. Drew, of the breads, if you had to pick one, what would be the best sauce delivery bread?
Like if I'm going singular, I think I'm going like bread stick. If I had to single out a specific bread, I'm gonna go like bread stick is what I think, because there's while it just, I guess it still submits me in my camp, maybe not as manipulable, but to me it's the spongy factor. While there's still a sense of potentially like it's not just a flat square. Like I can dip it, I can potentially stir it, kind of thing.
So you're saying anywhere between a small breadstick you would get at Olive Garden all the way up to maybe a baguette, which is basically a giant breadstick that you can pull off and that realm.
I don't know if I would include a baguette, but yes, that is the part of the spectrum that I am planning.
I did that for Danny. That's all I did.
That's fair.
All right, Drew, what you got?
I don't want to pick one.
You got to. That's the podcast.
I would say I don't know. I think just to cover all of my bases, I'm gonna go with naan.
Okay.
Or
it's pretty broad. Yeah, I like that.
You could include, like any of the fry breads where you that type of thing, because they usually have that little bit of plumpness. Sometimes they get that little crease in the middle, and they go with a billion different types of food.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could use that to dip into just straight sauce like we had the other night, or I could use that to build a sandwich
It's very
or to
versatile.
mop up, rice and curry, that type of thing. Yeah, very versatile
Okay.
and not
So
limited to one type of
yeah,
cuisine or
I'm
restaurant.
gonna say non, but I know that's that category. I'll allow you to limit it to the category of bread instead of just saying bread. Since Rick has kind of also done the same thing.
And for
I
me,
will put right, but
Okay.
I'm going to put it on a dip if you're making me pick, but it's definitely close to that middle because to me, I'm thinking sauce is like I don't want to say topping, but it's like the best word I have right now. Like it's the like it's the flavor, it's the sauce. Like it's not. I don't have a bowl. Well, I mean, I guess
Of
you
sauce.
can.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
because
could have a bowl of ranch.
yeah,
Like,
right. But like that to me, that is what I'm envisioning. I am trying to get is the ranch is maybe the leftover yum yum sauce,
Mhm.
the A1 steak sauce or the whatever flavor is on my plate.
It's the if we're trying to define it, Rick, I would say like the sauce is the other component of a dish that's not the protein or the
Sure,
carb,
sure.
which
Because
is in general, like those are the two things you would have. Like you would have noodles,
yeah,
sauce, and a
yeah.
protein.
Because to me, if we're
Even if the
talking
protein's in the
dips,
sauce,
I have a different answer for dips.
because like you can add salsa to a taco, and that could be this part of the sauce for a taco.
Yeah, you
right?
can.
Yeah.
And that's why like to me salsa is I'm willing to include it. I'm willing to not.
Okay.
To me, like we have 50 guests and sauce is number 51. And so like if someone shows up sick, okay, sauce is making it. Like they're right there to me.
So that you guys would say then that a Coca-Cola would not be a sauce, and chicken tenders being
Well,
dipped
I mean,
into
you gotta tell me about the meal.
why are we coming back to that?
because I wanted to make chicken tenders as the best sauce delivery food,
Speaking
specifically tenders, because I just think you can sauce them with everything, and they take anything well, and you can use them to mop up, and they're also a protein.
can you
Like,
use in the mop?
yeah,
up?
of course you can.
Yeah, but I guess
You got
I
some
think-
if you're a ketchup person, you got some ketchup on the side. You can, and they're big enough to like hold enough sauce, and you can kind of swirl it
I
around
think
and
my
get it up.
counter to my only counter, and I'm not saying it's a good one, but to me, you rarely get. Did you say chicken tenders? Is that what you said?
I said tenders, not wings. On
Okay,
purpose.
yeah, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
So to me, like, well, okay. I was gonna say, I think, but still, I'm still gonna say it. I think the majority of the time you don't get plain tenders. And again, okay, I'm willing to say maybe you can. Like again, it's right there at the
What
middle.
if I
but-
said tenders / nuggets? Because they're basically the same thing, just
Yeah,
size.
yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah, okay.
Okay.
I get what you're saying. Okay. All right. I still don't know if it's the best, but okay.
Because when I think of best, right, and
Yep.
I'm not mad at bread. Bread was again top 3 for sure. If I had
it's
a
the same
if
general
I had a leftover plate of something,
Sure.
and I had bread on this side and chicken tenders or nuggets on this side, I'm going tenders. I'm going to use that tender to mop up the sauce and eat the tender / nugget first, and then I wouldn't, again, not mad at bread, but like,
But can I ask a weird question first?
of course,
Where are you in the meal when you're making this decision?
for that specific example, I
Like,
was
are
at the end,
Okay.
but like even
You still consider tenders a mop up operation. Okay. All right.
if there are tenders available,
No, right. Yeah. I understand
Yeah.
that.
but like
Okay.
if I got buffalo tenders, right, and they were already pre-sauced, and I'm down to one tender and a bunch is like the Zaxby's chicken sandwich. That's the one. They just pour a bunch of sauce on top. They don't
Never
like
they do.
coat it. They don't coat it. They don't like toss it in the sauce. It's just like thrown on there. It drips down, and then you use like, yes, there's like Texas toast as the bread, but you can also take a chicken tender and mop up the rest of the sauce. So
I feel like that's an error in execution, though. Not.
no, that's an error in deliciousness.
Wait,
Because
I just want to know
I
though.
mean, also yes.
Do
but-
you have, if your chicken tender is pre-sauced, and it doesn't matter to me what the sauce is, but does that deter you from what you're going to dip it in? And it may not, I just don't know. Like, is there a certain pre-base that says,
preferences?
yeah,
Like if I get like let's like buffalo chicken tenders in general, I'm usually gonna choose ranch or blue cheese.
Mhm.
I would hesitate to choose barbecue sauce or honey mustard.
or
Yeah,
a marinara.
yeah, just if
Yeah.
there's a sauce that makes you hesitant.
But
and
I would
again,
say-
no, I know you said your original answer, I think, was unsauced
Yes.
tenders, but since we're here, I'm curious.
It would make me hesitant, but I would argue the same thing would happen if I had a barbecue sandwich and I wanted to use the
sure.
the bread
Okay.
to mop up a different
Okay.
sauce, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
So I think they're probably that comes just down to preference. I'm
Sure.
weird. I don't care most of the time. If I had barbecue chicken tenders and I had leftover marinara, I'd be like, all right, that sounds good. Why
I'll
not?
try it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna not.
I'm not
try
gonna
it.
order that, but I'll try it. You guys both said bread. One said breadstick and one said naan. I'm putting forward the boneless fried chicken is probably the best way to put that. I would not be mad if a bread won. That's clearly a super versatile. I personally would probably side more with the breadstick than the naan just because of the absorbency factor. But if I can sway you guys at all, if there's any chance that chicken might win, I'm gonna stick to my camp. But if not, I'm going breadstick.
I had chicken as a very close second, specifically unsauced chicken tenders.
Yeah.
I feel like you get limited in the types of sauces that they generally offer for that type of thing. I know there's a billion things you can get them sauced in, but you're usually stuck in that anywhere from lemon pepper to barbecue to tangy teriyaki.
But what happens if
like
you get
that's a specific
chicken parmesan?
coating. That's a
Are we saying Parmesan is sauce?
Well, the marinara sauce that's on top of the fried chicken that's also then coated with cheese.
but you
Yeah,
have to eat
alright.
that with a knife and fork. That's not a delivery system. That's a
You don't have to.
have tossed that.
You don't have to eat it with a knife and fork.
No, but I like that
You
you're
don't have to eat your pasta with a knife and fork either, but
Yeah,
we're not
I agree with
animals.
You're no,
barbarian points there.
I-
If any-
Barbarian
if any
points
of y'all.
To whoever's eating their
Ah.
pasta or their chicken parms with their bare hands.
I'll go breadstick.
Like,
because
yeah,
I think-
100%. Like if I had like a sauce I liked and there was a bread and then there was a chicken tender and I'm hungry, I'm like, yeah, give me that chicken tender. I'm gonna stick
Right.
it into the sauce that I like because I'm hungry. But if I'm trying to mop up like the last morsels of ranch or insert sauce here, like I'm gonna wipe the bowl with some bread
Okay.
because at
Yeah.
that point I'm trying to get the leftover sauce.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, so give me breadstick. The breadstick wins. We'll call that a day. I wish there was like a way to organize all these sauces into one.
Well, that's my time, everyone.
Yep, good night. I gotta
I gotta be out of here in 3 minutes.
think my mom's calling.
My name is Dr. Dimitri Big. I'm an adult, geriatric, and forensic fellowship trained psychiatrist and the host of the Psych Effect podcast. On this show, you'll get my take on sports, politics, current events, and world news in the context of mental health. Why me? Because I've been through all domains of mental health care. Inpatient units, outpatient clinics, academic appointments, university hospitals, nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and private practice. I've also led forensic inpatient hospital units, worked in prisons, assisted attorneys, and interviewed individuals both in criminal and civil forensic cases. I'll break down complex psychological and psychiatric issues in a fun and entertaining way and speak with interesting people and experts from different fields and professions. Join me weekly because everything has a psych effect. The Psych Effect is available on any podcast platform you use, and follow on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and LinkedIn.
Gentlemen, people, guys, team, band of brothers. A couple weeks ago, I posted something on the Twitter that caught Rick's attention, and I think we need to dive into it a little bit more. And the question I posted to Twitter was, how often do you organize the apps on your phone? And my initial response when Rick was like, WTF, was basically like, I think I do it every 3 months. And to be fair, I haven't thought that much about it since that time. And I do have time to think about it today. But I think it would probably be close to like twice a year versus 4 times a year is probably more accurate. I might like move one or more around if I know we'll call them one-offs or seasonal ones. Like I had to download the CBS Sports app for the bracketology pools that I was in, right? I downloaded that for March Madness, and I have gotten rid of it. So I don't count that necessarily as like a full reorg.
Okay, that's good. Yes, that's good to know.
That's just general kind of maintenance. But I'd like to think I do we'll call it a spring cleaning of all of the apps and where they're located and where they are in the phone, probably about twice a year. So like a spring fall kind of inventory and reorg of the apps on my phone. So I'm gonna say twice a year, maybe with like a third depending on I got a new phone and there's now like when I got a new phone, I think the current one I have has enough space for 5 vertically. The previous phone I had 6 vertically was the max number. So I had 6 spots. So obviously that was a different reorg, but on average, I'd say probably twice a year.
So we're saying, trying to recap, like if you were to download a new app, delete it, or like the addition of a new app is not necessarily reorganizing.
Right.
You're saying you do a maintenance cleanse. Is that's what we're talking about? Is the maintenance cleanse?
Yeah, I'm not talking about a single app. Like I think a good idea right now, and we'll get into this a little bit too, is my first screen, first of all, and I know someone here does this and I don't get it. I don't use folders. My first screen is, I don't call it business stuff, but it's like my mail, my camera,
your frequent flyers,
non-entertainment stuff, my weather, my notes, Google Maps, things like that. Then I'm like, this is for organization. This is for something like, I don't want to say serious, but like not for specifically for fun. And then the second page is all going to be some sort of entertainment, whether it be a social media or a game or fantasy football or a listening mechanism or watching mechanism like YouTube. So I've got it kind of broken down in just 2 pages. One is stuff like admin. That's probably a good word for it. One's admin, one's entertainment. And those I have tried to keep it to 2 pages, and that's all I do. And so twice a year, I go back and I look, I'm like, do I even use that app? Why do I even have that on that screen? And I'll either remove it entirely or I will just remove it from this, because obviously there are apps that I use that aren't on those 2 screens. And they're just in the app menu. Yeah, I have to go back through and like, I don't use this anymore. I'm going to get rid of it. Or I don't like where this button is placed. I'm going to move it to the right side versus the left side.
Okay. I don't know how often I do my maintenance or spring cleaning because it's very rare. But I guess I will double down. So my front page, I'm a folders person also. I need to say that I have 2 pages on my phone, and I refuse to go past 2 pages.
2 pages should be a good number. Maybe 3, like depending,
nope.
but like
2.
I can see. Yeah.
No, I get it. Yeah, like 3 is fine.
But if you have 4, 5, 6, 7 pages, you're psychotic.
Yeah, at that point, just grow up and use folders. I don't necessarily use, like, my homepage is not necessarily all professional. Like, to me, it is, what do I use more? So just like looking at it, also like half of my homepage is the basic installed.
Say I remove all that stuff.
Maybe not half, maybe a quarter. But so like I have like my GPS, my bank account stuff, my coffee apps.
Admin.
I have ESPN and Atlanta United, my music apps, like whatever. If I use it at least once a day or more, it's on the homepage. After that, no matter what it is, it's in a folder on page 2. So and
wait,
then,
so do you use folders on the first page or no?
I have to say yes because I have Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts in a folder on the first page.
But is that you have 2 apps in one folder and there's no other folders?
On my first page, no.
So you're using folders out of necessity, not as out of organization.
Sort of.
Yeah. I'm gonna say
say yes because I want to stay at 2 pages.
Right.
But yeah, and then on the second page, it's a very loose linked. So like for example, in entertainment, I have like Pandora, YouTube, and like my my Hulu, Netflix apps or whatever. Right. And then finance becomes very loose with Amazon, Publix, a couple of random bank accounts I don't use. That's just what the phone called it. And I was like, whatever, fine. So the second app, the folders become a little more loose, but they're generally, you could be like, okay, I can get there. I may not have called it that. But to your point, I say all that to your point where the second page is typically more entertainment / because my games are on my second page.
Right.
But, and the movies or whatever apps.
But so to kind of steer this back to the original question.
Yeah, sorry.
No, because I did the same thing. How often do you go through those folders or the first page and remove something from the folder just because you want to organize it?
Not often.
So less than once a year. Maybe like twice a year has happened, but like if you had to put a number on it,
I'll say once a year.
Okay.
I'll say once a year.
All right, Drew, what you got?
You guys are gonna hate me.
I already do.
Every Thursday.
It has nothing. And it has nothing to do with your apps on your phone. But
okay, so for the majority, I agree with you guys. I have it all. Let's all agree. Like front page is pretty much the same. I have the apps that I use every day, multiple times a day. Everything from messaging to photos, Google Maps, work apps, even like my Amazon and my Spotify, and email, all of the anything that I know for a fact if I open my phone, there's a good chance I'm going to click on that type of apps. A few on there, like my calendar, just kind of stay there because at this point it's muscle memory.
Yeah.
I would say the apps on my front page change the absolute least out of everything.
Yes.
Because of muscle memory, and they've been there so long and they're tried and true and tested. The only ones that do change, I would guess, on a fairly regular basis would be like work apps. If we go to something new or whatever, but again, that's just kind of maintenance.
Sure.
In general, I feel like I do an overhaul once a year, maybe.
Okay.
And again, some things don't change all that much. Like the front page does not change. My second page is apps that I use weekly, probably. If not weekly, then like, anywhere between every day to every 2 weeks maybe, and they're all like either reference stuff, like I have IMDb on there. I have my home, like my Nest, my AC and heating app on there. And that's all just kind of, again, based on muscle memory and where they are on the page is how often. I do use folders. and I do use them on my home screen. But majority of them are like I have all of my streaming apps in one folder, everything from Amazon Prime to Netflix, all of that in one. I have all of my podcast and entertainment apps that aren't streaming on there, like my Audible, and then I have all of my like finance stuff, like my bank accounts and that kind of thing. And then third page is all games.
Yes.
And that's kind of a chaos page because they change all the time. I'll go through games. There's a few that are standard, but they change a lot. And then fourth page is everything else, like all of the pre-installed apps that I don't ever use. They all go into one folder and they sit on that page. And then the ones that I use every once in a while, like my wallet or the apps that you use when you fly. So like if I'm flying Delta and I need to put that on a ticket, I feel like it changed for me when space on the phone was not really a problem anymore. Like if you remember back in the day when smartphones were first getting started and you had to be a little bit more conscientious about how many apps you had on your phone. But nowadays I can just swipe down and I can search whatever app I'm looking for. So it doesn't really matter if I have it on there or not. So I don't tend to delete a lot unless, like I said, once a year I'll go through and be like, have I even used this year? And then I'll just delete it.
Okay, so I have a couple of notes and follow-ups here. I think for the purposes of the question, the original question, which was how often should you go through your phone and kind of like, clean and spring clean your apps on your phone 1 to 2 times a year, I think is fine.
Just a respectable amount.
Yeah. I originally get on Twitter said 4. I don't think that's true. I think I was in a time where I was switching between like 3 different phones and I needed to. And so maybe that's where my brain was at because I had to do it. But if I have the same phone for a year, I don't think I would do it more than twice. So I think 1 to 2 times a year makes sense. You guys both mentioned that your first page is, I'm going to say, static and based off of frequency of use. So it's not necessarily what mine is, which mine is admin stuff that I might not use every day. Like I have settings on there. I have photos on there. I have my camera. I have my clock. I have my Google Drive, Google Maps, Gmail. So like I have all that stuff on that first page, but I may never check my email on my phone that day because, so it's not necessarily frequency. It's all kind of more categorical versus frequency. And it's actually one of the pages, and this is niche, but it's actually one of the pages that I have to kind of get rid of stuff the most often is because like mine's right now 5x4. So I have 20 apps on there on that first page. I don't have 20 admin apps that I want to put on that page. So anytime I install a new app, it ends up going and creating the shortcut on that first page. So I always find myself every like month or so being like, I don't need Zoom Earth. I'm going to get rid of it right now on the homepage. I'm not going to install it, but I'm going to get rid of it. I don't need Sketchbook on the homepage. I don't need Google Slides on the homepage. So now if I go download another app, it's going to show up on that one. So mine's not as static as yours, but I understand if you do have 20 or 16 things to put on there, it would be static and you wouldn't have the same problem.
I will say it just to go in a little more detail on like my front page, Travis. So I have 4x6, and then we have a bottom row on the iPhone that are like
Google has a bottom row too.
Your quick go-tos.
Yeah.
So 2 things. I usually keep the bottom row, not the bottom row, but like the 6th row are the most interchangeable. Like if I download a new app, a lot of time it automatically goes there, and I'll kind of keep it there until I figure out where I want it to go.
That makes sense.
And And then for folders, which when folders first came out, I was a staunch non-user of them. I did not like them except for putting things I never used into the folders and burying them in the back of my phone. I will say, so like one of my folders is finance, and it has like my bank app, but it also has things like my Venmo or my ADP login or my retirement fund, things I don't necessarily use every day, but the front page of the folder has 9 slots on it, so why not put them all in that one place?
But so my question is going to be, why even have them on the home screen if you don't use them? My thought is if I'm not using it at least once a week, why even have it on the homepage? If you, like you said, you can just flick up and search for it. Like,
because in the end, they would just end up in a folder somewhere else.
Why not have them on the home screen anyway? Just take it off the home screen.
Because there are apps that I use in that folder every day, if that makes sense. So like in my finance folder, I pretty much use my bank app every day just to, check through things. But I don't necessarily check my 401k every day.
Yeah, that would be silly.
There's enough spots in that folder that I might as well put them in there so they don't end up in a finance folder in the backlog of my phone. Because I do check it every couple months or so. Same thing with my Venmo. I don't use Venmo every day, but I use it often enough that it needs to stay on my phone. And why not put it with the other apps that are also related to money
in the same row? So I've got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit on one row. So it's not a full, I don't have to extra click into the folder and get to the app. So with your banking, if you use the bank app every day, keep that on your homepage. But then why also just to have a folder have stuff that you're checking less than once a week?
Because that folder exists.
It doesn't have to if there's only one thing in there that you check.
But then I would just be creating another spot where there's the app and then another folder somewhere on my phone that had all of the other financial apps I use. So that's
but that's what but you don't need
too much.
You don't need the folder is what I'm saying.
The folder would exist, like those apps would be on my phone no matter what.
Right.
So what's the difference in them being on the front page with the app that I use the most than having just my banking app and then another folder somewhere on the phone where all of those apps still also exist? They're all in the same place. It takes one extra click.
Right. I would rather group things myself if they need to be grouped. If I'm using all of those finance apps every, at least once a week, put them in a folder. I get that. But if I don't need to group them if I'm not using them and I can just search for it very quickly, like having them in a folder doesn't make it any easier if I'm not using it quickly. So, okay. I understand what you're saying now. That's a limitation of or a bad feature design from Apple. Got it. Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far.
No, it's a bad feature design.
No, because that existed before the app library.
Forcing you to use folders no matter what is a bad.
It doesn't force me to use folders. I use those so they're all grouped together. So I don't have. It's like on your.
But if I don't want to use folders, like I don't want folders on my kid's iPad, I have to have folders in the app library, and that's stupid.
But I don't use I've used the app library 0 times.
All I had to do to get to the app library is swipe over to the second page. And it's
okay, because you don't have any other pages. I have 4 pages of apps that I use, and then this is just a feature that they included in an update.
That's a stupid feature.
You could say that about any phone has features like that. Don't come after the iPhone for that.
No, I can nitpick on that because there's definitely features on other phones that I agree. I would nitpick and say that's a dumb feature. That's a dumb feature. That's fine. I'm not saying Apple is bad because that's a dumb feature. I'm just saying that particular feature is a dumb feature. Anyway, okay. So I still don't in general get folders. I don't like folders. I like to be able to see everything. I like to spread everything out and group them by line or, just in general on the page. So it's one less click that I have to get to it. That's a personal preference. I understand if you want to use folders, especially if you have more than 5 or 6 things to put into one folder. I get that. That makes sense. But we're still of the mind 1 to 2 times a year. On that note, I think it's time for last call. Gentlemen, tonight's last call, Rick has put together kind of a top 10 hashtag America edition. So we're going to try to guess the top 3 or 10 of what America's favorite things are. So Rick, take it away.
All right. Sorry, I was finishing writing up my scorecard. And I guess the most important thing is the majority of these are going to be top 9 because that's what fit on the screen. Lovely.
Perfect.
So as Travis said in our previous episodes, we did some top 10 favorite things from people. So I just picked some random things that came to mind. And again, these may not be accurate, but what's on the slide is what's true. So you can get fucked if you disagree.
America. That's the most American thing you've ever said.
Let me figure out how to... There we go. Okay, so the first one, America's top 10 fast food. And again, so I guess just for the future, the previous ones, since I know what's coming, will remind me, I think it's double points if you get the top 3. And then... Yeah. Is that what we did before?
Yeah, double points if you get top 3, 1 point if you get top 4 through 9.
There you go. And then just keep in mind, remember, the idea of this is America's top.
Yeah, for sure.
And with that, I guess, Travis, you're first on my screen. So give me your guess.
I'm going to go McDonald's, In-N-Out, and Whataburger.
Okay. Drew?
I feel like I saw this not too recently ago, and one of them was surprising. I'm going to go McDonald's. I'm going to go Taco Bell and Wendy's.
Okay, here we go. So the top 3 are McDonald's, In-N-Out, Chick-fil-A, and then the rest, I ranked them, but it doesn't really matter. Taco Bell, Arby's, Raising Cane's, Wendy's, Popeyes, Burger King, and Sonic. So by
Raising Cane's up there.
My count after the first round is Travis is at 4 for getting 2 of the top 3. And then Drew is also at 4 for getting 1 of the top 2 and then 2 other ones.
Yep.
So
you are correct.
After round 1, we're tied up 4-4. And that moves us on to our next category. America's top 9 selling vehicles.
Oh man.
So I think we can do this 2 ways. I think we can do a bonus if you get the make or model. I mean, if you get the model, I'll throw in you an extra point. If you just get the make, same rules apply. 1 point for placing, 2 points for the top 3. And then if you tell me that it is a Ferrari halfback, then I will give you 3 points.
Okay, then I'm going to go Honda Accord, Ford F-150, and the Toyota Tacoma.
Ooh, okay.
So I would, in theory, could get points for the make and extra points for the model. Okay. So Ford, Honda, and Toyota would be my top 3 makes.
Okay.
Oh man, I'm gonna go Tacoma as well, just because I feel like I see them absolutely everywhere.
The tacos, yep.
Wait, say that again. What did you say?
Toyota Tacoma.
Okay.
Let's go Jeep Wrangler.
Ooh, okay.
I'm gonna double up and I'm gonna go to Toyota 4Runner.
Interesting. All right, here we go. So we got lots of trucks. So we got Ford F-Series, Chevy Silverado, Ram, pickup, Toyota RAV4, Tesla. I'm surprised no one said Tesla. Honda CRV, GMC Sierra, Toyota Camry, and Nissan Rogue. So
Should've gone for that Honda CRV.
By my calculations, I'm going to give you both a point per Toyota, since you said Toyota. So for mine, Travis, you get 1 point for Honda, 3 points for saying a Ford F-150. And then since you said Toyota, giving you 2 points for that. And then True, you get 2 points for the Toyota. And then that's it. So yeah, so you got 6. And then True got 2. So it is 10-6 right now.
The F series, man. I knew it.
It was a good guess. All right, here we go. Now, this is where people are going to be mad and have opinions, but America's top 10 cities to visit.
Oh, visit.
Yes, visit.
I'm going to say New York. You're going to be with it. I'm going to say Las Vegas. And again, I'm trying to think of, is this 2023 or is this all time?
We're going to say definitely not all time.
Okay. Then if it's not all time and it's a little bit more recent, I'll go Orlando.
Okay. Drew, what you got?
I'm going to go New York as well. I'm going to do Washington, D.C.
Okay.
Like that.
And Houston.
I considered Houston.
Just because it's one of the bigger populated states.
Yeah.
Okay, this is where we're going to have opinions. And don't get mad at me. I just copied the
Honestly,
list.
It will not surprise me, Rick.
It might. So Austin, Boston, Seattle.
Okay, I considered Boston.
I consider Seattle as well.
Houston. The fact that New Orleans and DC and Vegas aren't in the top 10 is the controversial part of this.
I got Orlando.
You did, which is surprising. Houston, New Orleans, Atlanta. Yeah, baby. Orlando, San Francisco, San Diego, and Chicago.
New York or DC not on that? That's crazy.
I know. But so +1 to each of you, so that brings Travis to 11 and Drew to 7.
San Diego.
Yeah.
San Diego.
Rick, we're not mad at you for validity. We're mad at whoever created this.
No, as am I. I was mad when I made it.
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if those.
Don't worry, it gets worse.
True.
So
Boston actually kind of surprised me though.
The IMDb top 9 movies, and this is of all time, which makes it worse. So of what's on the list.
Top 9 for America or just in general?
I think America is a safe assumption.
Probably.
Okay. The first one that came to mind was Godfather.
Okay.
I think there's an older one. Something like give me Godfather. I'm gonna say Pulp Fiction. That's kind of the classic. And then what's just another like complete good movie, right? Top to bottom. Oh, what's the one? Shawshank Redemption.
Okay, Drew.
I'm gonna go. I feel like it was on the top of the list for a really long time, so I'm gonna go Titanic.
I thought about that as well, but I thought that was like box office, so I didn't pick it.
It won't count for multiple, but I'm gonna say just in general, Lord of the Rings.
Okay. Yep.
Because I feel like that was an event.
Don't worry, I'm gonna give y'all a second round on this one.
Really?
Yep. So Drew,
God,
your third one.
Okay.
Just a personal favorite. Let's go Matrix.
Okay, y'all went very logical, and I appreciate that. And again, whoever made this list, you'll be equally angry.
Wait, do you want to give us a second round before you show? Is that what you?
I'm not going to show.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you to take all logic, throw it out the window, and then come up with a new top 3.
Okay, then give me.
And don't include anything that you've just listed.
Sure. Give me Shrek.
Okay.
Give me what's the one I always go back to is 7.
Ooh, good one. Okay.
Give me just to like keep one halfway decent one. Give me Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Okay. Drew?
Let's go Citizen Kane. Just because I know it's on the top of a lot of really highly rated.
That's a statistically good pick.
I feel like we're not gonna get any of these. Rick's gonna be like, you absolute idiots.
No, we're not the idiots.
You're
here.
not the idiots.
He established that.
It's who made this list.
Okay, if we're thinking absolute idiots, let's go Avatar.
Okay.
Good pick. Good pick.
Let's throw it all out the window, guys.
There you go. That's the spirit.
You already said Godfather. I don't want to copy that one. Oh, Saving Private Ryan.
Let's go with that.
Yeah,
good
Just
one.
cause, yeah.
And unfortunately, even in the second round, no points.
Didn't get any.
Be prepared to roast.
Do we want to do 9? Do we just for shits?
We can.
Okay.
I'll.
Let me get back.
Even Titanic didn't make it.
Do you want hints?
Super broad.
Are you sensing a theme, Rick, in the way this list was constructed?
Sort of. I'll say you have 6 modern films.
Okay.
And then 3. Well, even that one's sort of modern, but it's 3 sort of obscure nominations.
Okay.
So,
okay, I'm ready.
Okay, let's go.
I'm gonna go real broad. I'm gonna go Avengers: Infinity War.
Okay.
Right. So I got your modern. I want a really old random one, mainly for the memes. Give me Ben-Hur.
Nice.
And you said 6 were modern, so I'm gonna go. You already said Avatar. That would have been a good one.
Yes, and so far nothing listed has made it, so it helps.
I'm gonna go Wolf of Wall Street.
Ooh, okay. All right, Drew.
Give me. Okay, I'm gonna go based on. I just don't know who's making this list.
Yeah, I know.
Someone is the answer. Someone.
I know.
Give me 7 Samurai, Armageddon,
ooh,
and RoboCop. That's completely just based that off the Criterion collection.
All right. Get ready to throw things. Here we go. The Departed, Good Will Hunting,
Jesus Christ.
Inception, Interstellar. I don't know how that made it. The Dark Knight Rises, The Dark Knight.
I almost got Rises. I almost said that.
Half of those are Christopher Nolan films.
Yeah, The Sting, Don't Look Now, We're Being Shot At, and Lost in Translation.
The Sting?
Right.
If you had told me Good Will Hunting made top 10, I'd be okay.
Right.
I'm okay with that one.
Honestly, even the top. Okay, the Departed and Good Will Hunting, I will give you in any top 50. Honestly,
right?
Sure.
Inception and Interstellar, great movies, don't need to be in that list.
Nope, I agree. Anyways, we'll move on. I have more faith in y'all on the next topic.
Wow.
America's top sandwiches.
Oh lordy, we're gonna.
And for clarification, in this one, I need specific sandwich. It's not like the brand of sandwich, so not like Subway or Jimmy John's. Like I need chicken fried steak sandwich.
Give me the Philly cheesesteak for sure, just because it's more of an us thing. The chicken tender sub from Publix, specifically that one.
Okay, I'm gonna call that a sub, and then if you want the toppings for extra credit, I'll allow it.
Oh, okay, cool. Then the last one, and this is very niche, and it was the first thing that popped in my head. I don't know another word for it, but it's the Fermanti Brothers sandwich. It's the basically grilled meat of choice, melted provolone, and French fries. So,
okay,
it's a Pittsburgh staple.
Okay, Drew,
give me the hamburger.
Okay,
cheeseburger specifically.
Okay,
if we're going for toppings for extra credit.
Sure.
The ham and cheese. and give me the bacon, egg, and cheese.
Ooh. Okay, we did a little bit better on this one. And by we, I mean Travis. So we got po' boys, Philly cheesesteaks, and whatever a muffaletta is as our top three.
Cajun.
And then we have a beef or French dip sandwich thing, pastrami on rye, a chicken biscuit. So Drew, I appreciate bringing in the hamburger, and then a hoagie's sub or hero. So Travis giving you the point there for a sub, and then the Reuben lobster roll and a club sandwich.
Yeah, I should have gone more like sandwich specific.
I was not thinking those.
Yes, so I got 3 points for Travis in that round for the Philly cheesesteak and then the sub. And Drew, I got 0 points for you. So that brings
I'll take it.
That brings
hamburger
Travis.
Should have been on that list, but
I agree. If chicken biscuit made it, hamburger should have made it.
I agree with that for sure.
And that was it. That was our categories. So Travis wins 14-7. And the next time I'll try and pick better links. But that was
you did great. You did
that
great.
was fun for me.
This was good. Good content for sure.
I kind of like the idea of a segment based off whatever is the highest ranked site
by some dude
by Google.
on the internet.
Right. See, I was trying to do like shoes or like pair of pants, just like random stuff, but couldn't find all of that.
Give me Levi's every day.
This was, I appreciated this. Thank you, Rick. If you're still listening, you should follow us on the social media at _bar banter. New episodes every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcasts. There's a link in the description where if you want to support the podcast so we can buy more alcohol, see each other in person, or maybe even one day put on a live event, go support the podcast. That would be wonderful. If you want to like and subscribe, you could do that too, I guess. But just remember that this is our podcast and you're just along for the ride.